Once in an interview, the daughter of President Lyndon B. Johnson was asked to describe her relationship with her father. She thought a moment and said, "Blood." And for many of us, that is really the only relationship we have with those we consider family members. We didn't have a choice as to the family we were given. We fell into one that was already there. We don't pick our family, we pick our friends. Sometimes blood is the only thing we have in common. If you are from a family where everybody gets along with everybody else all the time, congratulations! But if you are like most of humanity, your family has ups and downs. Jack and Harry Warner were blood brothers who owned Warner Brothers Studios. But that doesn't mean they liked each other. In fact, they never got along. One day Harry was seen chasing Jack through the studio with a lead pipe, threatening to beat out the little brains he had in his head. Another day, while touring the studio, Albert Einstein was introduced to Harry Warner as the man who discovered the theory of relativity. Harry said, "You discovered the relativity theory? I have proved the theory of relatives." "Really?" Einstein said. "Yes, never hire them." They say that blood is thicker than water. But I have found there is something much thicker than blood, and that is love. Many of us form our own families. We are blessed with a natural family by birth, but we sometimes form even stronger bonds with those people to whom we are joined by love. For years, I knew an old Hungarian lady who used to introduce me as her grandson, though we were not related at all. She would always add proudly, "Not by blood, but by love." Love can be stronger than the blood running through our veins. The Holy Family of Nazareth was anything but what we now would regard as a traditional family. That whole concept is something the religious right of our own days have come up with. This was the original non-traditional family. I often place myself in Joseph's sandals and try to imagine what this poor man must have been feeling. This child was not his, and he knew it. It wasn't blood that joined him to the child. It was love, pure love and nothing else. A tremendous example for all of us. Many of us live in families not joined by blood, but by love. And that love is far stronger. We think of a traditional family as a young man and a young woman falling in love with each other in a storybook romance. This was not the way the Holy Family was. Things didn't happen that way in those days. Marriages were arranged by the parents. They probably never even knew each other before their parents engaged them to each other. Generally, the parents of the girl went to visit the parents of the boy or the man and said, "You look like a good one. Here she is." And the poor girl was placed in the hands of this man, for better or for worse. A far cry from our fantasy of traditional family. When St. Joseph realized the child was not his own, the first thought to come to him was divorce. Again, not the 21st century American concept of traditional family values. Once again, he had one of his dreams, and God said, No, just hold on. You don't understand, but it will be okay." Poor Joseph must have been so confused so often during his life. He didn't really understand all this. How could he possibly have understood it? he was constantly faced with strange circumstances, a child that was not his, weird dreams telling him to go here and then go there and then go back here and be sure to do this and not do that. Well, like every good husband, he just went along with it. He stayed with the baby, not because they were related by blood, but because they were very much related by love. Their marriage was also not one we would regard as traditional. Nowadays, if a man went out alone with a 14-year-old girl, he would probably end up in jail. But back then and back there, that was how it was. In fact, that was how it was nearly everywhere until very recently. What we have come to think of as a traditional family has probably never really existed in its entirety. Most of us don't come from and don't live in what we would consider traditional families. Most of our families have something a little peculiar, and that's okay. Love is stronger by far than blood, and it is love that holds us together. This time of year, my thoughts always take me back to a beautiful Christmas dinner years ago at the home of an elegant Bulgarian lady. I was struck by the wonderful diversity of the people there. Sitting to my right was a lovely young couple from Austria, while to my left was a very interesting doctor from China, and next to him a beautiful lady from Korea. Many guests of all ages and ethnicities filled that room. At the end of the dinner, the Christmas tree was lit with real candles, and we all stood around it as a family, holding hands and listening to a recording of the Vienna choir boys singing Stille Nacht. I looked around at the others. Our hostess had tears in her eyes, remembering her husband, a famous conductor who had died long ago. The Hungarian lady next to her was also weeping, with memories of her own husband, a well-known composer of days gone by. I saw the young Austrian couple thinking of the family back home, and next to them an ancient German man leaning emotionally on the shoulder of his handsome young African-American friend, the memories of 100 Christmases in his heart. All of us stood there as a family, united not by the blood in our veins, but by the tear in our eye, the memories in our hearts, the joys and the sorrows that life had brought to each of us. That moment has remained with me and comes to mind every time I see a Christmas tree with people around it, sharing smiles and tears, sharing memories, sharing love. It brings home once more the awesome truth. We are, all of us, family, not by blood, but by love.